What's up, people? We have a new week ahead of us, and it is currently 12:02 a.m. Monday, October 25th, and I'm here recording a podcast for you guys. Um, and I really had this in mind to do this because I was working all day. Just got off a call. Literally since I was up this morning, just grinding my fucking ass off until 12 a.m. Basically just set some things in place for the week, and I had a topic in mind I wanted to talk to you guys about, which is your standard. Okay, your standards. And the reason why I'm talking about your standards is because I've been on social media the last few days and looking at what people allow themselves to basically what people tolerate in their lives. It's so BS, man. Like literally, you're seeing people set so low of standards of themselves, and it's miserable. You're seeing people being so miserable about their lives that they use sports or they use in entertainment or they use in something else just to, if it's weed or alcohol, that they need something to try to get them away from their life. If you're at a point now that you will have to distract yourself in your life, you have to freaking get your ass to work. You need to do something about that because what you're doing is you've set low standards for yourself. You're suffering from low standards, and that's what so many of the population in the world right now they're suffering from. There's so many people they wake up each morning, they're not motivated to get to work, you're not motivated to want to impact the world, you're not motivated to want to create value for the world, you're not motivated to want to win in life, and they're this way because they literally have no standards for themselves and they demand respect from the next person. The next person is not going to give you respect if you don't respect yourself. And you can only respect yourself by holding yourself to the freaking literal highest standards possible. Like the highest standards possible. And one of the examples I'll use is a few days ago, I think it was on Thursday. Well, actually, it was on Friday. So for the first time last week, I took a loss. It was like a 2-3 pip loss when I was trading, and it wasn't really a big deal to anyone because obviously it was a mitigated loss. The stop was like 5 pips, the risk was like 5 pips. It was like a mitigated loss, and but later I came back and then just blew it out of the water and made lots of profits back, which is usual, typical. And I saw someone reach out to me on Instagram. I'm like, bro, I know you're so mad about the loss of this small thing, but you don't need to worry, bro. Like, you're literally the greatest person I've ever seen do this. And it just is like the first time I'm seeing you take a loss in like 4 weeks. And obviously the person meant well and the person was being positive. I was like, yeah, I do appreciate what you're saying. But internally, I was going, no, fuck this. All right. I'm not going to settle for just being one of the best out there. I want to literally be the best version of myself I can be. I want to be the best person in the industry. That's always been mindset. My mindset has always never been just to succeed. My mindset has never always been just to be that guy that helps people and other people make money off of the street. I wanted to be the guy that made a dent in the industry. I wanted to be the guy that made that big impact in the industry. And if you look at people like Elon Musk, and look at people with crazy vision like this, like Kobe, like Michael Jordan, and you look at them and you look at the standards they held themselves to, you would understand that this is what it takes to freaking literally be the best in the industry and to find massive success in what you're doing. Because for you now to see a massive result, you have to do what majority of the population you're not going to. The majority of the population, they need someone to help them structure their life. They need someone to tell them what you're supposed to do. And that's why you see the freaking BS is going on with COVID right now. Because so many people, they're so dumbed down. They've learned how not to take responsibility for their lives that they freaking need the government or they need someone on the TV to tell them how they're supposed to live their lives. And they freaking try to shut you down if you say something contrary to what they've been brainwashed to believe. If you are someone who holds yourself to the highest standards, you're not brainwashing to any of this BS. You don't have time to care about any of this BS because you're a man on a freaking mission. That's who you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be a man or a woman on a mission because you have something you're chasing, and that's the epidemic. We have an epidemic of low standards, of low expectation. It is an epidemic of low expectation, and that's why so many people they're getting hung up in drugs and they're looking for entertainment and sports and stuff like that just to get them away from how miserable your lives are. You're freaking fat. They don't work out. poor diet, poor nutrition, poor exercise. It's the same thing. Just like it's basically like, and this is what I keep telling people. You do understand that you're not living up to your full potential, right? Because every single one of us who are brought into this world, we have a potential. Okay, and I was watching a Kiss and ASAP video, and there's one of these actors, freaking, I can't remember the name of this is, but when he was born with a fatal bone disease whereby his bones could like break way more easily than the average person, and he never grew up more than 3 feet. So he was like smaller than 3 feet. The size it was at I think 2 3 years of age was the size it remained throughout all his life because he could not freaking grow, and he was disabled like no walk, and was always on the wheelchair all his life. And I was listening to the interview between him and Casey Neistat, and the one thing that blew my mind was when he said, "I'm freaking blessed to be in this situation," because he acted. It was one of the actors in Mad Max Fury during the road scene where it was one of was like he had an oxygen mask on and he was commanding the fleet of cars and stuff. So he was the guy. That was the guy I'm talking about. And he won awards for that. It was the freaking first disabled person to be in an Oscar nominated movie, right? And the label he used was I'm freaking blessed to be in this position because there's other disabled people like me who are never in this position. And I was looking at this mindset. I'm like, you can imagine being born with this major disadvantage in life and still thinking that it was a privilege for you to get to where you were at, despite you obviously putting the work. And it freaking blew my mind. And the mindset really, really blew my mind. And what I've seen, especially with close friends around me, which I've tried to cut off from, because the mindset is just, it's just, it's depreciating, man. It's really, really depreciating. But those a lot of people around me, the only thing I see them do is they're always complaining about something. They're always complaining about how shitty your life is and how tough they have it for themselves and blah 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 and blah blah blah. And I always see them reposting about football and sports and entertainment. And in my mind, I'm like, you are complaining about how shitty your life is, yet you never make any conscious decision to want to fix your life. You're always making up excuses. That's why you're failing, and you never fix the problem. And it's that way because you have very low expectations of yourself. And because you have very low expectations of yourself, you try something new, you don't see the results that you want to see, and immediately you're quitting or you're stopping because you've not seen the result that you want to see. There's no way you're going to dominate an industry if you have that kind of mindset. If you have a mindset of, let me try this and now if it doesn't work out, I'll just quit and move on to the next thing. If you're someone who flip flops around and goes from one project to the other project and trying to see what can work for you, man, you're not ready for this game. Okay, life is way more tougher than what you think it is. Life is way more difficult than what you think it is, and you need to be able to match up your energy with what life throws at you to really coast through any setback and any failures and freaking thrive. And again, throwback to like a few months ago when I was trading and I went through which is one of the toughest phases in my trading because I was dealing with loans that I had to pay every single month to like two different banks, which many people don't know about. And I was going through a very, very massive psychological breakdown, which literally affected my trade. And that was like the worst moment in my trading career over a span of like 3 years or so. And I was watching how so many people were lost faith in me, and so many people were leaving my team because we were not seeing the results they wanted and stuff like that. And again, not like I needed the money because I never utilized the money from all those people being a part of my community. But then again, watching people, the disappointment of people, the disappointment in people of me was a torment, and people losing faith in me, and people saying this man cannot lead, and this man has no vision, and this man doesn't have anyone. Let me just find something else. That was the toughest thing I had to face, and that compounded the psychological barriers I had to deal with when I was dealing with freaking having to pay loans every month. At the same time, having to manage a community and also trade and literally having to sell a lot of things just to meet up with the loans. It was insane. It was overwhelming. Now, if it was the average person that had to deal with all of these things, it's just gonna be excuses. But then again, I realized that what can I control? Okay, and that was what I just posted on my Twitter page a few minutes ago. And let me just go on the Twitter real quick, and I'll read it out for you guys. And I said, if you're worried about a situation, write down everything you're worried about of that situation, then cross out things you can control and deal with what's in your control. And that was what I did a few months ago. A few months ago, I literally almost had no money. Okay, I sold everything, all the cars, I sold everything, a lot of the assets I had, sold everything just to be able to meet up with the loans, and it was not even freaking enough. And there was no money coming. Okay, there was nothing coming in, and I was like, how can I turn this situation around? Because it was the toughest moment of my life because all my money was going into funding all of those things, and I had to take a step back and think. It was so because it led to massive depression and stuff. And that's the thing about winners. Winners are not made when the coast is smooth and when things are going good. Winners are made when they have to deal with struggles. Okay, like J. Cole said, uh, coal under pressure would not make diamonds. I know a lot of you guys are very discerning, right? So diamonds are not just made from heat. Diamonds are made under pressure. Greatness is made under pressure. If you look at great athletes, Kobe, not LeBron, Michael Jordan, Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, they are people who thrive under insane pressure. And we as fans, we expect so much of them when it comes to the big games, when it comes to championship finals and stuff. We're expecting so much of that. And that's what makes them the best because they perform when they're under pressure the most. But if you can cave so easily when you face just a little bit of pressure, you don't deserve the success you think you want. You don't deserve the success you think you're supposed to get because you don't know how to deal with setbacks. You don't know how to deal with things when the going gets tough. If you can only thrive when everything is all smooth and when things are going your way, you're not successful. You don't have what it takes yet to be successful because what happens when, let's say, just an economic crisis or just a recession or you lose your job or an accident prevents you from going to work out, things like this, all of these random things. What happens when any of those situations happens in your life? What do you do next? Do you cave into the struggle? Do you cave into the setbacks? Do you cave into to taking freaking 4 or 5 steps back? Or do you push through and do you do the best that you can? And that's the thing. What can you do to change your situation? Because so many of you guys right now, you're listening to this and you're going through setbacks. And I want to let you understand that you're going through setbacks because you don't have a high standard of yourself. And that's why it's so easy for you to give up. It's so easy for you to try. You don't see the results and then you stop and then you relax and you cannot keep up your effort on a consistent day-to-day basis. Your obligation to the world is to set the highest standard possible for yourself. And then once you do that, do every freaking single thing in your power to hold yourself to them every single day. Hold yourself to the highest freaking standard. This week, as you're going into the new week, as you're starting your Monday, your job is on a day-to-day basis. I need to grow. I need to make moves. I need to work my ass off. What are my goals? What are the things I'm aiming for? Breaking them down into daily objectives and getting to freaking work on those daily objectives and being disciplined about those daily objectives. And that can only happen if you have a very high standard of yourself. And the funny thing about this is once you start to set very high expectations of yourself, you're going to see that your own self-respect goes up, exponentially up. Once you begin to respect yourself insanely, so many people will begin to respect you. So many people are going to start seeing you in a different light. Just the same way, of you guys right now, I'm a freaking average person, but you guys hold me in high esteem because of what you see me do. You hold me in high esteem because I hold myself to freaking high standards, higher standards than yourself, and that's why I get better results. And that's why I get better outcomes, and that's why you're seeing the results I have because I have freaking massive expectations of what I'm supposed to do because I want to tap into my fullest potential. And that has to be the same thing. That has to be your same mindset on a day-to-day basis. If you do this consistently for a long enough time with zero compromise, you don't freaking compromise on the standards, you don't freaking let anything get in the way of your expectations of yourself, your life is going to freaking change. You're going to make a lot more money and you're going to set higher standards for the people around you. Anyone who's around me, I have freaking high expectations of them. If you're a kind of person whereby you're shitty or you're negative or you don't have high expectation of yourself, I'm freaking cutting you off my circle. I don't want you influencing me and stuff. Okay, I'm not going to follow you on Instagram. I'm not going to look at your stories because it's just nothing. You don't know yourself to the same expectation as myself. Once you set higher standards for yourself, you will automatically set higher standards for the people around you because they have to match up to your frequency. They have to match up to your vibe. And that is going to increase your confidence massively. So the things I'm talking about is not only in business now, it's also in relationships. Okay, romantic relationships or business relationships, any type of relationships we're talking about. Okay, people are not going to respect you if you don't respect yourself. You can only respect yourself if you increase your standards for yourself. That is the only way that you can respect yourself, and that's the only way other people can respect you. Once you set higher standards for yourself, you start to set boundaries. And then people start to see the boundaries you set for yourself, and then they automatically start to respect those boundaries. And from respecting your boundaries, they start to give you the self-respect that you deserve. And from having better relationships, you can then get better connections, and you can then get better opportunities. That's the way this works. But if you don't set high standards of yourself, if you don't make it a commitment to show up to the gym every freaking single day, if you don't make it a commitment to read a book every freaking single day, if you don't make it a commitment to want to build your business on a day-to-day basis, if you don't make a commitment to increase your standards and your expectations of yourself, you're going to keep the same shit alive and you're going to keep finding distractions to distract you from your shit alive. And then at the end of the day, you're going to live a life of regrets, which I'm sure no one listening to this wants. So here is your wake-up call to go and freaking change your life right now after this call. Change your standards, change your expectations of yourself, and automatically things around you start to improve. With that being said, it's Jane here.